Welcome back to this episode of Good Morning Wilmington. America's Turning Point is your host, Big Ive, the talking to town, Mr. DETVCH.com. And I told you that we was going to have some amazing people. And today, who just bust down my door and just came in and just said, you're going to interview me right now. And I couldn't turn him down because he's just an awesome guy. And I think you should already know who this guy is. But if you don't, let me introduce you to the U.S. Senator Tom Carper. Senator Tom Carper, welcome to Good Morning Wilmington. How's everything?
Big Ive. Is that what you call yourself?
Yes, it.
Big Ive. Not Big I, Big Ive. Right. I like that.
And, the governor, every time I see him, he's like, Big I, what's happening? So I'll take Ive, I'll take anything. How you doing today, Senator?
I've been called a lot worse, that's for sure. Doing great. I start every morning with a workout, either run outside, ride a bike inside, or I go to Central Y and lift weights. So today I lifted weights, and I love to start my days that way. I've been doing this ever since I was a 21-year-old ensign in the Navy. On my way to become a naval flight officer.
That's what I was going to say. Well, I remember back in 2016, I think I read that you do 150 or 100 push-ups a day every morning before you wake up.
I do a bunch of stretches when I get up, and I do a bunch of crunches, and I knock off 100 push-ups.
Wow! And the wonderful thing about it is you're still driving a minivan.
I lost my license. No, I'm just kidding. So we just went over today, literally driving here this morning. We went over my minivan, which 2001 Chrysler Town and Country, went over 533,000 miles.
Whoa, that needs to be in a museum.
Later today, I'm going to take it to White Glove and get it washed. It will double its value. So,
I know that's
there you go.
Right. Senator, we had an awesome day when the whole state of Delaware dedicated the bridge to Senator Margaret Rose Henry. How was that?
Oh, it's great. I serve as a senior Democrat on the committee in the Senate called Environment and Public Works. We focus on clean air, clean water, climate change. Mm-hmm. We focus on surface transportation, roads, highways, bridges, and ports and stuff like that. About 18 years ago, I was able to get a designated appropriation for $20 million to build a bridge into the riverfront off of I-95. Wow. And that never happened because of reasons I won't go in here, but the $20 million was held by DelDOT for almost 18, 19 years. Wow. And finally, they decided to bring the ingress egress off of the riverfront, not onto 95, but onto Route 13. And that's where the bridge has been built over the Christina River. And they were trying to figure out who to name the bridge after. We normally name bridges after people. And I don't know who came up with the great idea. It may have been Stephanie, state representative. But the idea was to honor one of our great state senators. Now, when I was governor for 8 years, Margaret Rose Henry was a member of the Senate. She was a Republican, and then she was a Democrat, and remained a Democrat for, 20-some years till she came to the end of her tour of duty. She was great. She was one of those people who unites people, gets people to work together, pulls people together. And what I would think about a bridge is something that's designed to pull people together, to unite people. Mm-hmm. And it's I think there's nobody that's a better uniter than she is.
Yeah, I think, and I definitely want to give a special thank you to State Representative Stephanie Bolden for spearheading that whole project. It was amazing to see everyone out there, and just like you said, a bridge is made to connect people, and that's exactly what Senator Rose does. So Senator Henry does. So Senator, salute to you, DTV salute, and Senator Carper. It's a lot of things going on. It's that time of the year again, election time.
You know, it doesn't seem like an election.
It doesn't?
It really does not. Like, I see the signs up and down the streets and on yards around our house, and we don't even have many billboards. And it's just a different kind of election. It's kind of surreal.
Well, it's a different time, too. You know, the last 4 months, everyone's been confined to the house or quarantine of some sort. And where I'm used to seeing a lot of people door knocking, we're actually seeing a virtual way of door knocking, and that is people utilizing media. So I can see what you're saying. Like, you don't really see too much of going on. But nonetheless, this is a still important election, and especially because of health care. So can you touch on that?
In the Bible, it says in Matthew 25, it says, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was thirsty, did you give me to drink? When I was sick and in prison, did you visit me? When I was a stranger in your land, did you welcome me? Matthew 25 doesn't say anything about when I was sick and needed access to health care, did you do anything about it? But I think the inference is the same. I think we have a moral responsibility to the least of these in our society, and that includes making sure that everybody has access to decent health care. one of the things Barack Obama proposed doing was to literally to go ahead and provide coverage for everybody using, if you will, competitive forces in private sector and something. It came to be known as Obama Call, but it's actually an idea that came out of the Heritage Foundation, conservative foundation, Republican think tank, gosh, 25 years ago.
Wow.
And it's a good idea. And the idea is to create these exchanges. People can sign up and get their health care from an exchange. Every state has their own exchange. And we had about 40 million people without health care when Barack was serving as president and Joe was serving as vice president. Mm-hmm. We cut that in half. And this president took office and basically stopped that. He's trying to kill the Affordable Care Act. And where are these people going to get their health care coverage?
Right.
No, he doesn't have a good idea. And so the idea of, at a time when we have this COVID pandemic, we have all kinds of people, that it's more of a problem with lungs and breathing and so forth. And to say that we're going to stop people getting access to health care is crazy. It's just crazy.
I don't understand it myself. And so with COVID going on, COVID-19, and I would love for you to explain and talk about the COVID relief package that's present right now. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Actually, the House of Representatives has passed a very big bill. They passed it about a month ago, almost entirely on a party line basis, and provides for about $3 billion. About half of that goes to state and local governments to help them as they've seen their revenues just drop like a rock, and their expenditures go up. Some of the money would be for hospitals. Some of the money would be for testing, and for a variety of positions like that. We want to make sure states like Delaware don't run out of money in the unemployment insurance fund. We want to make sure that states like Delaware don't run out of money in their Delaware Transportation Trust Fund. This is a great time to build roads, highways, bridges because the weather's good, and this is the time to build it. We don't want the state to run out of money. If the state doesn't have money to build roads, highways, and bridges, they're unable to trigger and bring in federal money. It's just, you got to match the federal money. So we want to make sure that states don't run out of money. We want to make sure that people have access to food. We used to have something called food stamps. It's now called SNAP, but it's nutritional assistance to all kinds of families. And so those are some of the needs that we want to make sure that we meet, and they will be met in part by legislation adopted in the Senate, similar to the House, probably not as much money, but I think the idea, the intent is good.
Now, will this address the extend unemployment benefits?
Unemployment insurance, since about March, we've provided for people who lose their jobs, become unemployed for no fault of their own, a supplemental unemployment insurance payment that's about $600 a week. Mm-hmm. And I like to say compared to the maximum unemployment insurance benefit somebody can get in the state of Delaware is $400 a week. We layered on top of that from about April through the end of July an additional $600. That goes away at the end of July. Most economists would say that's like a cliff. You have a cliff effect where people be going from bringing $400 a week on unemployment insurance from the state, $600 from the federal government. That's $1,000 a week. That's $52,000 a year, at least for a period of time. And but there's going to be a cliff effect, and people will be back down to that maximum of $400 a week, even if they are trying hard to find a job and keep a job. I think what we need to do is to, instead of having like a light switch effect, just turn it on or off at the end of July, I think what we need is a dimmer switch and to turn it down. And so people in the states with the highest unemployment will continue to draw a more robust federal supplement. Those that are in states with, let's say 5% unemployment, they may not receive any federal supplement at all. You're in a state where the unemployment rate is 15%, they might receive the full $600.
Nice. I think that'll be some relief people are waiting to hear from and waiting to take place in their lives, especially here in Delaware. So that's definitely awesome. Let me ask you this, Senator. As the highest-ranking member of the Environment and Public Works Committee, what is your role? And tell me a little bit more about that.
We are concerned about the air we breathe.
Mm-hmm.
We're concerned about the water that we drink. Too many people in this country, and even in this state, drink water that's unhealthy. They breathe air that's unhealthy. We face a climate crisis where we have way too much carbon dioxide in the air, and it's leading to, among other things, increases in temperature. Mm-hmm. And by the end of, not many people who are alive today are going to be around at the end of this century, but some will. And the way we're on a track right now to have not just the highest, we're on track to have the hottest summer we've ever had this year. There, my wife was down on a trip, cruise, that she went down to the South Pole, Antarctica. And while they were down there, the temperature at one of the little islands off of the South Pole reached 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a record. Up north in the North Pole last month, the temperature within the Arctic Circle reached 100 degrees Fahrenheit, within the Arctic Circle. We're going to see probably more hurricanes, storms this summer than we've seen in a long time. Yeah. You've heard of the term 1,000-year floods. Well, we have 100-year floods. Those are floods that occur about every 100 years. We have 500-year floods. They occur maybe every 500 years. Then we have 1,000-year floods. Those are floods are so big they only occur every 1,000 years. Ellicott City, Maryland. If you drive from here to Baltimore, you go right by Ellicott City. They've had two 1,000-year floods in 2 years.
Wow.
In 2 years. And so we're seeing this wild and crazy weather, wildfires out on the West Coast that are bigger than our state. Floods in the Midwest that create great havoc for farmers. So this is going on. It's going on right in front of our eyes. That's the bad news. The good news is we can do something about it. We can reduce our dependence on the carbon dioxide, including moving to more energy-efficient vehicles, electric vehicles, hydrogen-powered vehicles. There's a lot of things that we could do, and do those in a way that create jobs. And that's what we need to do. In adversity,
I hear you say carbon dioxide. You said it about 2 times already.
Yeah.
Let's tell me more about this legislation that you're working on about the air conditioning and that comes with the carbon dioxide.
Yeah. I remember when I was in the Navy, back during the Vietnam War, reading about a hole in the ozone up in the atmosphere, up over the North Pole, and it got to be really, really big. People say, well, what is causing that? That can't be good. And they figured out that in our air conditioners, our refrigerators, our coolers, freezers, they were using a chemical called chlorofluorocarbon, CFCs. And the use of those chillers, freezers, air conditioners all over the world in our cars and so forth was creating this hole in the ozone, and which is not a good thing to have happen on our planet. So some really smart scientists came up with a replacement product to replace those CFCs, and they replaced it with a coolant, a refrigerant that's called HFCs that doesn't create a hole in the ozone. So the hole in the ozone came together, and we said, oh, well, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Unfortunately, HFCs, which is a replacement for the coolants, for refrigerators, for air conditioners, HFCs it's 1,000 times worse than carbon dioxide in terms of contributing to climate change and global warming, 1,000 times worse. So we sort of like jumped from the frying pan into the fire. Here comes the science again, and companies like Chemours right here in Delaware have come up with a replacement for HFCs, and to use them in our refrigerators, our freezers, our coolers, our air conditioners, and it doesn't do anything bad for the ozone. Ozone layer is cool, and it doesn't contribute to climate change. And we need legislation to phase out the old HFCs and bring on the new wave of coolants and refrigerants that don't do, and they only do good things for our planet. So that's what we're trying to get done.
So, Senator, tell me a little bit more about the water infrastructure bill.
Well, a lot of times we turn on the faucet in our homes or where we work, and we drink the water, and we just assume it's going to be clean. In most places it is, whether you happen to use water here in the city of Wilmington or out in the county or in some other state. But in too many places in our country, cities like Flint, Michigan, we know, the water wasn't healthy, and we need to do something about that. We have some places, especially in Sussex County, where folks drink groundwater through it from a well, and the water there has been, in some cases, tainted by fecal matter, and from the poultry industry, and from fertilizing, from farming. One of the major pieces of legislation that we pass in the Senate and the House every 2 years is legislation designed to provide for cleaner drinking water, legislation that provides funding for cleaning up the effluent, our wastewater that we discharge from our homes and from our businesses. And it also provides money for the Army of all folks, the Army Corps of Engineers. If anybody goes to the beaches in Delaware, and you say, oh, those are beautiful beaches, how do they get? And they look at the dunes and they say, oh, those are nice dunes. In case we ever have a hurricane, the dunes help protect the towns and everything on the other side of the boardwalks. But you also have a Port of Wilmington here, The Port of Wilmington, which used to be owned by the city of Wilmington, they didn't have enough money to run it. And when I was governor, we bought from the state of Delaware, bought from city of Wilmington, the Port of Wilmington, and we put a lot of money into it to modernize the port. But now the state, in the last several years, has been looking for a partner, a private partner, to help with the state to actually make the major investments that are needed at the port. And today, we have that private sector partner. Governor John Carney's legislature is leading the way, and they're building a new second site for the Port of Wilmington, 3 or 4 miles north of the current site. Well, the old port will still exist, will still be vibrant and active right at the intersection of the Christina River and the Delaware River. But about 4 miles north of there, there'll be a brand new port that will be built and provide job opportunities for 4,000 or 5,000 people. That is, and that would not be possible but for the Army Corps of Engineers building dredging waterways to enable large ships that go 40, 50 feet deep into the water, maybe 40 feet deep. That now they'll be able to use the new port of Wilmington, which is a great thing. A lot of jobs, a lot of job creation. So when we think about water infrastructure, it's not just water that we drink. It's not just our wastewater. It's not just the work of the Army Corps of Engineers. It's not just our beaches and protecting our beaches and making sure we have a strong and vibrant tourist industry. It's not just 4,000 or 5,000 jobs at the Port of Wilmington. It's all of the above.
Nice. Love it, Senator. Thanks. Look, thank you so much. And I know you got to go. Promise me one thing. Next time you got some information to tell the people, you'll stop by here at the DETV studio so that way we can make sure that everyone gets to hear it. That cool?
I'll try to be here tomorrow morning.
Oh, all right. Najee, make sure that we have a good coffee mug for the senator, and let's get it popping. All right. It's your main man, Big Ive, the Talking to Town, Mr. DETVCH.com, and this is Good Morning Wilmington, America's Turning Point. Talk to you then.